Good morning, guys. So, brew day number 3. Let's get cracking. So I've CIPs with some peracetic acid. The tank, so it's the first time using this one today. And I've just finished my mash out temperature at 78 degrees. So now I've got to lift this basket up and get ready to do some sparging. But when I first lifted the basket up, it went a little bit cloudy, so I just had to do like a little roll off just to clear it up. But I think that's something I'm going to have to work on in the future. But obviously I don't want to extract tannins and stuff from any grain husk material, so obviously you kind of do want it as clear as possible. I've just been opening this valve and turning the pump on down there. At the minute I'm just on the 65 litre mark and just getting the water, pumping the water up to the top, let that drain through, and then I'm just grabbing samples of the sparge water that's coming off and then testing it for gravity and pH again, just to make sure that I'm not extracting any unwanted tannins into the beer. But yeah, that's pretty much it at the minute, so I'll be doing this for maybe about an hour or so. So as you can see with the Brew tool system, I have the grain basket just above, just so I can get my hand underneath, and then that just allows me to test for my samples, so I can test the runoff. We've got to a point now where the sparge that's coming out the bottom has hit 5.83 pH, so kind of above 6 you run the risk of extracting tannins. So I'm stopping it there, and now I'm just gonna use my HLT to just bring that water basically straight into the boil kettle. So looking at my kettle gravity and volumes, I'm looking to get somewhere around 140. Just I'll double check the gravity and the volumes, of course, but yeah, that's just where I'm up to. I've cleaned the grain basket out, rinsed it all down, give the floor a quick mop so it's nice and clean. The kettle is up to 97.2, so we're almost out of boil.
We're just about to find out that Sadiq Khan is going to be mayor of London for a third.
So I am cutting it a little bit close with this wire. So it's currently just going around, the return temperature's at 41, so I've just got to wait for that to a little bit cooler. But it's coming down, I'll turn that valve so the water will come out, up and in, and it literally just makes it. But obviously that'll reach the bottom valve quite easily. Just get a little connection piece just so I can actually connect it up to the bottom, and I'm sure the pump wouldn't have an issue with that. But yeah, cutting it close. Don't know what I would have done if that hadn't have reached. The transfer hose aside, yeah, I've hit my numbers, I've hit my pH, which is fantastic. I'm a few litres, only a couple of litres under what I was aiming for, which is no real issue. So on the whole, third brew day, and I'm feeling so much more comfortable with the system. It's really good. One thing I do need to change, the hose that I've got from the garden into the heat exchanger. It's pretty much like fully open or fully closed. I haven't really got much control, so I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to build like a little manifold in here which I can just plug it into, and then rather than running to the back garden and then back in, I can just kind of do it straight from here. I also want to get my grain flour chiller somehow connected up. So what I'm thinking is I've got a tap just in front of me here, so I'm going to have the garden hose and the tap running in parallel, so they won't affect each other, and then have the water going through the Brew Tools one and then through the grain flour one, and then I'll see, because obviously the cooling capacity should be greatly increased. Hopefully I should save a lot more water, make the process a little bit more efficient, both in terms of energy and consumption, but also with time. But as with everything, I'll just have to put that onto the long list of everything that needs doing. I've got to, once this is transferred, I've got to then start doing some dry hopping. Actually, whilst that's cooling down, I'll start weighing out the hops. Got all my hops, smelling really good. So I've got Citra and Strata in here, obviously same as all the other videos. I've got slight pressure in the headspace, so I'm just gonna release that and then pop these in. Dry hops gone in. I've just added some CO2 into the headspace just because I'm going to set it to cold crash from tomorrow. And obviously I don't want to create a vacuum. Throw the CO2 bottle back in the freezer. It's on 30 degrees now, getting there slowly but surely. So it's down to 23, but by the time it starts coming through and into the tank, obviously the tank's a little bit colder, so I'll take a couple of degrees off. I'll need to also put another chiller on. So after dumping the yeast, I've set the temperature down there, so that chiller's kicking in now to cool this down. Whilst that's transferring, I don't really want to knock the hoses or anything. I'm just gonna keep my eye on it, and then I'll set up the next chiller. So I'll just grab that one off the top there, throw it on top, and then should be good to go then. So I was getting bored of waiting, and I figured I'm just gonna get this into place now while I'm waiting. So it'll be all right. I'm sure it won't accidentally fall out and smother me in walls. Fingers crossed. So that didn't quite go how I imagined. I hadn't thought about it, and basically it's the internal pump in that bottom one which is pumping the cooling fluid through. With this one, it seems I need an external pump. So I do have a little single chiller there, and that one, I know that one's got an internal pump that pumps out, so I'm just gonna have to swap them over. Got that one out. That is really heavy, and I've just filled it 16 litres of water, so for the time being I'm just going to leave it there, because by the time I get this in connected up, I'm probably going to be waiting around for it to cool down before I can pitch the yeast anyway. So I'm hoping this will squeeze into that gap. I don't think it will. How can I empty it to make it lighter? I'll have a think. So, I don't have another one of those little plastic tap fittings. So I was like, right, I need to go to B&Q and try and find some alternative. So in the meantime, I'll nick the one off that fermenter, stick it on the one that I've just filled, and then let that start cooling down whilst I'm away. But then I can't get the fitting out because it's right up against the wall, and obviously the tank's half full with beer, so I can't move the tank, especially not by myself. So I've put it back on. It's all mucky. I might just get the cleaning cycle running and then I'll take myself to B&Q, I think. Okay, so what's seemed like a very long time in B&Q. I found this little fitting. So it's a 3/4 inch to 15mm. And I was like, oh, I'll just buy it and I'm sure I'll be able to find something. So I've got this pipe which I had spare. It's a bit grubby, I just cut the ends off. So the 3/4 inch will go into the back, and then I'll literally just slide this on over, try clamp it, and then the other end I'll just feed back in to the chiller. So I'll get that set up now. So eventually got that fitted on, just about, and the tube is just going back into the top of the chiller. But yeah, that's probably enough for today. So yeah, as always guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Obviously I've been doing a lot of blog type content, but especially if you want to see more kind of like specific things that I'm doing in the brewery, maybe things that you might be interested in, yeah, feel free to just whack them in the comments as a bit of inspiration for me to do with like videos, just creating more videos and stuff. But yeah, thank you, and I shall catch you on the next one. Cheers guys.